So let's talk to Jeffrey in Pennsylvania, he, him. And I think Jeffrey might be somebody I talked to earlier today. Hi, Jeffrey. How are you?
Hey, Mr. Kelly. I haven't talked to you earlier today. I did not. And
okay.
How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for calling.
Yeah, thank you for calling in. Appreciate it. So it says here that you think that near-death experiences are real. What has drawn you to that conclusion?
Well, that question is sort of like asking, are UFOs real? Yes, of course. Absolutely, UFOs are real on the face of it, right?
Mm-hmm. People are experiencing something. That I will say that, yes.
So that would make them real.
Well, it would make the experience real, but is like when somebody has a near-death experience and say they see a light and they go up and then they see their dead relatives, is that real? Is that something that is actually really happening to them? I think that's the question.
Right. That makes it a little more clear. I understand that. So what do you think? Do you think that these experiences that people are having are not based in reality?
Oh, I think they're based in reality, but I think they have a different explanation. I think it's probably hypoxia, hallucinations from hypoxia, lack of oxygen.
Yeah, being based in reality and being real, those are different. I would say that the experience itself is based on... Yeah, I'm just saying the experience itself is based on that person's real life experiences, the things that are stored in their head over a lifetime. But whether or not that's actually taking place, that's the question. Go ahead. You were about to say something, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were aware of that lady that who was blind, who had a NDE, and she reported vision. Is she hallucinating vision?
Well, I don't know, and the problem is that we don't know what her idea of vision is without being able to see through her eyes. What she was experiencing might not have even been vision. Right. Do you know what I mean? It might have just been her expectations of what vision was going to be.
That's fair enough, but I got to revisit the whole testimony. But if I remember correctly, there were things that she was able to describe that other people could verify that actually had vision also.
I could see that. I could actually see that.
Yeah.
Right, but no, I've had a really good friend that was blind, and he could, like feel your face and get a good idea of what your face looked like by feeling it. Right. So when she's describing these items, is it things that she has actually been able to touch before? That's something I think would have to be answered.
No, that's the thing. I understand you saying about feeling a face, but I think it was things that were not like that. Like there were things. I wish, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. You called us on the spur of the moment. I don't expect you to have all the answers. Just the fact that you're talking about this with us is awesome. So,
and I'd like to present another option, another alternative. I mean, how do we know that this person didn't already have those descriptions from other people? You go a whole lifetime absorbing information, and sometimes things get lost that you end up remembering later. Anybody who is not blind can experience that. But if look, I'm not calling her a liar, and I'm not saying that I don't want to delegitimize her experience, if you will. But I mean, there are ways that our brain works that we can't quite understand. And she may have picked up a description of something that was accurate, something that exists in the world, and had a description of it already, and was able to recite that after abnormal brain activity. So there's an option as well.
Yeah, for me, this is Kelly, right?
That was Jimmy you were just talking to. I'm Kelly.
Oh, Jimmy was the one that was just talking.
Yeah, that was just
Sorry,
Jimmy
man.
talking.
It was in the voice. Okay, Jimmy. Yeah. It doesn't ring true for me. Like, it doesn't ring true. Well, just for me, that is something that she might have picked up and then she just kind of regurgitated. Like, it rings more true for me that it was an experience that was reflecting, like when if a blind person could all of a sudden see how they would describe it. That's the way it came off to me when I heard the testimony.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like you said, you have an alternative, perhaps, and I just, for me, I would go with before I would go with your explanation, I would probably go with just the testimony off the face of the person that was having the experience.
So let me ask you this, Jeffrey. So what it sounds like you're saying is that you really just want to believe this person, right? You want to just give her the credit that you think she's due and take her account and just go with what she's saying.
Yeah, I don't.
Is that accurate?
I don't really have a reason not. I don't have a reason not to believe her that I can do anyway.
Okay, but
and I believe that her experience was real. I believe she had this experience. So
what I would say is I think something like that.
Well, we're trying to.
I think something like that requires more investigation. And my question to you would be, what other things do we do in life where we just take the first account that's given to us and we don't ask further questions, right? What if I said, look, I think Jeffrey is a murderer, and you're just going to have to trust me on that one. Would that be sufficient for you, Jeffrey, or would you want somebody to investigate that to find out if it were true?
I'd want someone to investigate that to find out if it was true.
Right. And I know that it's maybe a bit of a false equivalency, because somebody saying that they've described vision and somebody calling you a murderer, I understand, are two very disjointed things. But there are many circumstances that are left to just the person making the claim without any other investigation taking place. And those are the things that we need to combat, right? We have to make sure that good questions are being asked to verify the information that's being given to us. That's how we end. When we don't do that, that's how we end up with religion in schools, or people who are subjected to really harsh and negative dogmas, making decisions for the rest of us that we don't want to go by. And I don't mean to digress a little bit, but I think that the idea of just stopping at point A without seeing how far we go, we really owe ourselves a little bit more than that.
I think there's ongoing investigation into the whole NDE question. I mean, there's so much research going on. I think a lot of us, I'm going to say even us, even though I kind of buy into a lot of the testimony, I think a lot of us have dismissed the whole body of ongoing investigation when they run into something that just doesn't, they can't, I think for a lot of people, it don't fit their box. So, because it's out of the box for them, it's uncomfortable, so they don't want to go any further. A lot of people have looked at it that way. So,
I have a lot of, I used to believe in NDEs completely myself, honestly, reincarnation as well. As I've gotten older and a little bit more looked at the world a little bit differently, I don't believe in it as much anymore, because I have seen other explanations for the effects that are produced by this experience. Like I mentioned, hypoxia earlier, lack of oxygen. And then one of the things that we have found by talking to people who have these NDEs is that not everybody has the same experience. Christians experience the Christian heaven, right?
Kelly, I find it amazing that hypoxia can make people feel or experience what some have described as a heightened sense of reality, more real than when they were.
But it's not real though, right? I mean, if it was real, everybody would see it. If it was really there, everybody in the room would be able to experience it, not just the person that was in the room.
Well, only the person that was in the near-death experience would experience it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if it was a real experience, one that was part of the physical world, right? It would be something that at least would be able to be picked up on by something or someone in the room. And we haven't been able to do that. And my point that I was making before is, Christians have ND. Let me finish this time. You cut me off the first time and I didn't get finished. Christians have NDEs of a Christian heaven. Muslims have NDEs of a Muslim heaven. Hindus have NDEs of based on their Hindu faith, whichever sect that they belong to. And this is the problem that I have, is that each person from these different religions have these NDEs that are perfectly for their religion. They fit their idea of what the afterlife is going to be. So how do we reconcile that?
The reconciliation of the different, like a Hindu having a Hindu experience, Christian having a Christian experience, other religions having other experiences, is a separate issue to whether or not the experience is real. I don't think.
No, it's not at all. It's not at all, because if we're having this vision of an afterlife, if you don't think the religion is important, that means that there's many afterlives. And is that what you think, that you just go to whatever afterlives you get thrown into because of what you believed in all your life? Or do you believe that there is one afterlife? And I think that's an important distinction here. So religion is very important here.
Yeah, I'm not saying that religion is not important. That's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to focus in on whether or not the experience of the NDE is in fact a part of reality. That's what I'm trying to focus in on.
Right, and that's why that's what I'm asking. Do you think that there's more than one afterlife? More than one type of afterlife?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
That could be real, could it not?
I don't know. I'm asking you. Do you think that there's more? Basically, is there more than one heaven?
I wasn't asked if I was a theist before I took the call, but I am a theist and I happen to be a Christian.
Okay.
And Jesus said that in his Father's mansion, which is really the king, or in his Father's kingdom, there are many, in his Father's mansion, excuse me, I misspoke. In his Father's kingdom, there are many mansions, or another translation is many dwelling places. So
okay, but you still can't get there except through Jesus, right?
Get where?
To that heaven. The only way to get to that heaven is through Jesus Christ.
Everybody gets there through the same way. They die. That's how they get there.
Okay, so then nobody goes to hell.
No, everyone goes to the different places, the many places there are in the kingdom of God.
Okay, so I have a question.
God determines that. God determines that where they go.
So let me ask you this:
where you and I go.
So you're a Christian, right? And you will die and go to heaven. When you get to heaven, will you get 72 virgins?
No, that's not.
Why not? Why not?
That is a 72 virgins is a carnal, it's a fleshly pleasure, right?
That's a tenet of Islam, which is an Abrahamic religion, which follows the same God that you do. And you said that there could be multiple different places in heaven. And you said that religion really doesn't have to do with the kind of place that we would go when we experience a near-death experience. And so my question is it possible for you as a Christian to die and get the 72 virgins if God decides?
Well, it is up to, I will admit it's up to God, but I doubt he would give me 72 virgins because.
How do you know that?
Well, here, I have a question on this in this vein too. Now, if a Muslim dies, he has a near-death experience. He goes into the light and he sees his 72 virgins, and then he gets pulled back to earth. Mm-hmm. Now, how do you explain that?
Well, I believe this is part of my personal belief, gentlemen. So I'm expressing this, but
right.
I appreciate that.
The things that we believe in this life while we're here in the flesh, after we die, the things that we held as being our affections, the things, for example, that Muslim person who believed that he was going to get 72 virgins because he was righteous and he followed Allah. I believe that God, I think that death for all of us will be a teaching. He will teach us. Every one of us is going to learn when we cross the veil and the veil of this flesh. And he may use that Muslim experiencing the 72 virgins that he was expecting. That was his affection. That was the thing he was going after all his life, right? God may use that to teach him what is true.
How do you know that? How do you know that? Now we have to get down to how you know all of this information. And that is a very important question. If you're going to explain to us how God works.
No, I believe the words of Christ, and he brought us the truth with his words.
Okay, but that doesn't answer my question, Jeffrey. So you just explained how God makes decisions. Hold on.
How do I know?
Yeah. How do you know that God decides, right? Unless you're telling me that Jesus said that, because I'm not aware of that. But how do you know that God decides that when people die, they get this manifestation of what it was that they believed, and that God uses those things to teach things to them? How do you know that?
Okay, Jimmy.
Yes.
Jesus said that you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free.
Yeah, but Jesus also said, I am the way, the truth, and the light. And no one comes to the Father except through... Wait, you're not letting me finish. You are not letting me finish. And this is literally in the Bible. It's John 14:6. I am reading it word for word. Jesus answered, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Jesus was saying that if you don't believe that he is the way into heaven, then you don't get to heaven. So again, I am asking you, how do you reconcile the fact that people are having these visions of a heaven of a different faith? Because they can't have a vision of heaven if they don't, of the Christian heaven, the one you believe in, unless they accept Jesus, according to Jesus.
Okay, I was interrupted. I don't know. I think I was interrupting Jimmy, and I apologize, Jimmy, because I thought you said he was the way, the truth, and the light.
No, I said I was the one that was saying that. That's Kelly, and I did say the life. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me.
Right.
So if you don't believe, so if as you say, the Christian God was showing these people of other faith a vision of heaven to match their faith, they couldn't have even got there to begin with because they didn't believe in Jesus to get there. That was the point I was trying to make before.
Well, Jesus told his disciples that the way that when he was about to die, he said, his disciples were like, well, where are you going? And he said, where I'm going. He told them that he was going to die, and and he basically told him, you're going to follow me. And basically, that's the way that all of
that's not answering my question, though.
Yeah, it's not answering Kelly's question, and it's not consistent with what you were saying earlier, which is why I asked how you knew. So you're telling us that we will know the truth, and then you're telling us all about God's truth. And I want to know how you know that, but I also want to know, building upon what Kelly said, in you knowing the truth, part of that truth is that God decides what afterlife people are going to experience. At least that's what I took from what you were saying. And I'm just wondering, how do you know that? And is that the truth you're talking about? And then how did you come upon this truth?
I know by faith in Christ's word. That's how I know.
Okay. But that's not that. And that might be good for you. And hey, if you're a good man and you're doing what you got to do to contribute to society and be a good person and not beat anybody down, I appreciate that. But there are people that are not. There are people that are not like that, and they use this religion to claim that they have the truth, and this is the way that society needs to function based on what they say, and that's not a good thing. And so that's why we have to pick this apart. And you haven't provided any evidence that anything you said, is truthful, while it may sound good to you. And so that's kind of the direction I was trying to take this. You're saying that there will be a truth, that we'll all know the truth, and then you're telling us exactly what that truth is, but I can't really get to how you figured that out. So that's really what I wanted to highlight. Kelly, I'll kick it back over to you. Thank you for giving me so much time.
Jeffrey, I really, really, really want to thank you for calling us. I mean, I've had a really good conversation with you. I hope you don't feel like we were beating up on you or anything like that.
Not at all, man.
Cool. Awesome. I always hate it when I make people feel that way, so I'm glad I didn't. I do have a lot of other callers, though, and not as much time as I wished I had. So if you don't mind, Jeffrey, I'm going to move on. And I'm so glad you called. Thank you so much. And please feel free to call back again when I am hosting or when I am not hosting. We have a lot of other good hosts here that would love to talk to you. Okay?